What is up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Big Screen Berkan Podcast. I'm your host, Berkan Dincer. I'm excited to be back. Last night, I just watched Avatar: Way of the Water. Oh my goodness, we have some things to talk about. But before I get into Avatar: The Way of Water, I want to discuss the DC Extended Universe because the last episode, we talked about a potential question, hypothetical, of if you had to cut Deadpool 3, The Batman 2, Across the Spider-Verse, or Man of Steel 2, which one would you cut? And we discussed it. I explained to you guys why I'd cut the Batman 2 and yada, yada, yada. Well, this past week, James Gunn has revealed that he is working on a Superman movie for the new slate of DC movies. But it will focus on a younger Superman, and Henry Cavill is not going to be that Superman. And Henry Cavill posted this really sad Instagram post saying goodbye to the character. The whole comic book world felt crushed. Everybody loved Henry Cavill's Superman. It's a shame that he will not be continuing. But honestly, this feels like a sign that the DC Extended Universe is rebooting. I have been arguing over on TikTok that the DC Extended Universe should really just take what the Batman gave them and start from there. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. There was about 2 hours the other day where we thought it was possible that James Gunn and Peter Safran were considering making the Batman the new starting point of the DC Extended Universe, but that was proven false by James Gunn himself. He could be playing werewolf. I mean, we've had experience with actors who are saying things that aren't happening when they actually were happening. I mean, Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man No Way Home. It is a classic example. It is the reason why I'll never trust anybody in Hollywood when they say they aren't a part of something or they're not doing something. I have zero trust for anybody. So we'll see. I personally still think it makes a lot of sense. In fact, if you want to hear my thoughts on the Batman being a starting point for the DC Extended Universe, let me play you guys a clip from a TikTok that I posted last week about this very topic. If I'm James Gunn and I'm Peter Safran, I'm resetting the DC Universe completely and I'm starting with the Batman. I know Matt Reeves doesn't want the Batman movies to be part of the whole DC Universe. He wants them to be standalone, grounded, realistic films. That is fine. But if I'm James Gunn and I'm Peter Safran, I'm realistically looking at the Batman and saying, hey, we can still deliver a realistic and grounded story for a few years and then naturally progress. That's exactly how the Marvel Universe started. Iron Man was this realistic, somewhat grounded story. Comparing the Batman and the Batman is a better film, a better starting point. So why not relaunch DC with the Batman and go from there? If Matt Reeves doesn't want these movies to be the DC Universe, I say just give him the Batman 2 and then just cut him loose after that. It's harsh, but James Gunn even himself said we're going to make some tough decisions for the better of DC, for the better of telling the story. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, and be sure to follow for more updates regarding the DC Universe and whatever that may be. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on James Gunn starting over with the Batman in the DC Extended Universe. But honestly, like I said, I am glad that the DC Extended Universe is rebooting. Enough is enough. I've had more joy and fulfillment watching the 2 Avatar movies, just the 2, in the span of 12 years than I had the entire DC Extended Universe. So I'm up for change. I think James Gunn is a brilliant director, writer. The only movie that I felt that he wrote that was a little bit was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm personally not the biggest fan of the movie. I know a lot of people love it. Just to me, it just wasn't that great. It's not very rewatchable. But again, that's just my opinion. And also the Suicide Squad was good. It wasn't the greatest movie ever. I do think it's a little bit overrated based on how everyone treats it on social media, but it's not a bad movie. So I think the DC Universe is in good hands with James Gunn, and I think he'll do a good job with Superman. So we will see. Hopefully he'll cast a Turkish Superman. Berkan Dincer, let me audition. Sorry about that, guys. I've had a cough for a few days. But yeah, so DC is up in the air as we speak. Now, I do want to give you guys an update on A113, a Pixar project that I've been working on for months. Now, when I say Pixar project, I don't mean that Disney called me up and they hired me to write a Pixar film. That is not what happened. Basically, I posted this TikTok last summer.
This would be the greatest Pixar movie of all time. And of course, it not only involves the Pixar theory, it confirms the Pixar theory. So with the Pixar theory, the doors from Monsters, Inc. aren't portals to alternate realities or universes. They're actually doors to time travel. And according to the Pixar theory, Boo is the one who invents time travel in effort to find Sully. We also know that there's a Pizza Planet truck in every single Pixar movie. So here's my pitch. What if we had a Pixar movie starring an adult version of Boo, aka Mary Gibbs, which is her official name. Also, fun fact, the name of the actress who voiced Boo, on her journey to invent time travel to find Sully. So what if the movie starts off with Mary Gibbs in her Pizza Planet truck, because that's where she works part-time, breaking into a By and Large facility. Now, according to the Pixar theory, By and Large is responsible for harvesting human emotion because human emotion is the most powerful thing in the universe. In fact, human emotion is why the toys in Toy Story are able to come to life. Speaking of which, if Mary Gibbs is going to break into By and Large, she's going to need a guy in a chair. And we know from this scene in Monsters, Inc. that she does have a Jessie doll. But what if this movie brought back Jessie to be Boo's guy in the chair? Of course, this isn't Andy's Jessie doll. It's a completely different version of Jessie, but nonetheless, we'd all appreciate it. So with the help of Jessie, her toy in the chair, Mary Gibbs sneaks into By and Large and steals some key pieces to invent her time-traveling machine, which she plans to act as a door. However, By and Large security, or maybe early versions of the Autobots, Autobots get it, chase Mary Gibbs, forcing her to turn her Pizza Planet truck into the first time-traveling machine. Frantically, Mary Gibbs randomly goes to different points in time, which happen to be different Pixar movies. Which could explain why you see a Pizza Planet truck in literally every single movie. Throughout the movie, Mary Gibbs is trying to find her way back home, constantly jumping through different points in time, being chased by and Large, until eventually she does find Sully. Together, Sully and Boo take down the remaining By and Large goons chasing her through time, and Sully may even give her the final pieces she needs to perfect her first door, thus concluding the greatest Pixar movie ever made. Obviously, I'm just throwing up smoke. I personally think it's a cool idea that, of course, would need a lot of work, so let me know in the comments your suggestions on how to improve that movie. And if you want to see that movie be made one day, go ahead and tag Pixar. And as always, don't forget to hit that follow button.
I posted that TikTok last summer. Everybody really loved it. Everybody was tagging Pixar, saying, oh, we want this to be made, we want this to be made, we want this made. A lot of people are like, hey, Berkan, why don't you just make it? You know, it was your idea. Don't let Pixar rip you off. And I very much was like, you know what? I would sell this idea to Pixar for a plate of cookies. I do not care. I just want to see it made. But people were insistent saying, hey, we really want this to happen. Will you just write it? So I was like, yeah, I mean, I've written scripts before, so why not? Why not write it? So I started writing it. It was a movie. I thought, oh man, this would be a really cool trilogy, or maybe it should just be one movie. I was really back and forth. Eventually, I came to the conclusion that, okay, well, I really don't know what this movie is going to be, but I know what it should be called. And then on my birthday, I revealed the title of the script, and you guys freaked out even more than when I told you guys the idea in the first place. And what was crazy about that whole day was right after I revealed that the title of my Pixar script was going to be A113, Pixar posted a video about A113 and why it's meaningful in the Pixar universe. And they posted a video of every single A113 that can be found in a Pixar movie. And the fact that that was posted hours after I revealed the title of my script was going to be A113 was absolutely insane timing. Maybe they saw my videos and they're like, hey, let's post this. Or maybe it was just a crazy coincidence. But regardless, you guys literally took that post over. Like, it had, I think, 2,000 views. It was not doing that well for some reason. And then I referenced, hey, Pixar sees us on TikTok. They just posted about A113 after I revealed that the title of my movie is going to be A113. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. It wasn't hours afterwards. It was a couple days after I revealed the title. So they could have actually seen my video and then decided to post that video just to feed into the hype. You know, social media managers are sneaky. But anyway, so I said, hey, I think they see us. And everybody went to the A113 video comments on Pixar's page and flooded it with hashtag Berkan's A113. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it made me really emotional to see. I still get emotional when I go back and find that video, and I see the thousands of comments that are just hashtag Berkan's A113. I mean, when you're a writer, when you write something and you put in a lot of work into it, and you see all this love and appreciation for it, and you haven't even released it yet. No one's even read a word, but people are so excited about it. It is the weirdest and greatest feeling. I have only ever dreamt of feeling something even so slightly like that before. So that was an incredible moment for me, and it really inspired me to keep going and keep going and keep going. And so I've been working on A113 forever, and finally I came to the conclusion A113 isn't a movie. It's not a trilogy. It is a limited series. I want to break this up into a series because there's so many stories to explore, because originally A113 was a sequel for Boo from Monsters, Inc. It was her sequel. And then I realized A113 is a sequel for a lot of characters in the Pixar universe. And there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of things that can be explored and we can just dive into. And so I started making it a series, and then I had a thought. The true antagonist of A113 came into my brain, and the reason he's an antagonist came into my brain. And I remember sitting down going, oh my goodness, what have I done? I have done something with A113 that's either going to piss off a lot of Pixar fans or everyone's going to love it. It is a choice. It is a bold, bold choice, but I am no hypocrite. And I will, when I review movies, I talk about bold choices being made, or they did not have the courage to make this bold choice. And so I just went ahead and made it. And you're not going to see what the bold choice is in the first episode. But just know that there is a reveal that's absolutely insane. So I'm excited for everybody to kind of see that and theorize, because I am releasing the first episode of A113, the script, not, fully animated completed thing. That would have took years and a lot of licensing and Pixar's approval, and I just don't have that, obviously. But I am going to release the spec script of the pilot episode of the A113 series the end of this month. That is the goal. So the next Big Screen Berkan Podcast episode will actually be an audio book-like episode where I'm basically just reading you guys the script. So be sure to save this podcast, favorite it, subscribe YouTube, whatever you're watching, listening. Be ready, because it is coming. I will have an audio version for the script in case you guys don't want to go and read it. But I really do hope you guys read it, because the platform it's going to be on is pretty special to me. So I do want you guys to read it. But I will have an option where I'm reading it, and that will be the next episode of this podcast. I'm really, really excited, really nervous. Especially because when I first, in the peak hype of my A113 idea, my TikTok, man, was just, it was unstoppable. My page was unstoppable. It was on fire. And then TikTok kind of just broke. It literally broke for everybody. Views for everybody has been such a struggle. So I've been so scared that when I do release this, because it's not like if I could have released A113, the script, back in July when I had this idea, or back in summer when I had this idea in July when I revealed the title, I would have. But then it would have been terrible. You guys would have hated it, and there would have been absolutely zero chance that Pixar or Disney ever looked at it and said, hey, let's make this. And so it has to be this way. It had to be months later. I had to put in a lot of time to it. I had to rewrite it. I had to throw it away. I had to come back to it. I have to put in all this time and effort. So if it flops, I will be sad. But at the very least, it was a cool learning experience for me, and I got to really play in a universe I grew up loving. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I really hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, like I said, I am only releasing the first episode, and there's going to be a ton of Easter eggs for you guys to enjoy. And the main antagonist does appear in the first episode, but his name will not be revealed, because that has to be a surprise. Again, I do hope that one day Disney and Pixar come to me and they're like, hey, we really enjoyed your script. We saw that everybody enjoyed it. Let's see what we can do. So I need to keep some things under wraps so that not everything is just revealed. But I'm very excited to see and hear y'all's theories if you read it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Again, I am planning to release it the end of the month, hopefully. It's looking likely. It just depends when it comes back from an editor, because I'm not just going to throw that thing up after I've written it. It needs to be edited thoroughly. But anyway, moving on. Avatar: The Way of the Water. I watched it last night. Okay, I watched it last night. After 12 years, we finally got Avatar: The Way of Water. And I mean, who's surprised? It is visually spectacular. It is visually beautiful. It is so pretty. I turned to my wife, and she just complained to me about wanting to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, we'll go right now. I mean, it seems like a good point in the movie to go. And she's like, no, it's too pretty to go right now. So it's definitely visually spectacular. And one thing, though, that I was very impressed with was it seemed to have improved emotionally. There was a lot of emotional stake in this film, and it was really, really captivating. And it just kept me on the edge of my seat and really, really let me be invested. And the movie did make some mistakes early on that the emotional weight of the film made up for. It made me forget about it, and it let me buy into it. So Avatar: The Way of the Water is definitely a must-see in theaters. I'm revealing the episode after my A113 episode, so early January will be my 2022 movie ranking episode. But I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a spoiler. Avatar is in my top 5 films of 2022. It is pretty dang good. Now, I don't know if it's better than the first Avatar, because the first Avatar, the world that they built was so visually spectacular, and just visually, it was something we had never really seen before, or at least on that level, and it was pretty crazy to comprehend. And although the story may have lacked, the world was just so beautiful and breathtaking and alive that you just couldn't help but fall in love with it. This one, I feel like, is more character focused and story focused versus Pandora focused. And so visually it is spectacular, but you know, it's not as mind-blowing as the first one was at that time. And Pandora is kind of, you know about Pandora already. It's not new. There's still a lot of elements that you're rediscovering, or you're discovering for the first time, and elements that you're rediscovering, but it doesn't have that same wow as it did the first time. And so I think Avatar, the 2008 release, was just such a special classic that I don't think the Avatar: The Way of the Water could replace it. However, it is a very, very worthy sequel to the film. So I definitely have a lot of faith in Avatar 3 and 4 and 5 and a potential 6, 7, and 8. James Cameron has been bugging the heck out of me the last few months, just being so cocky about Avatar. And he's like, oh, you know what, go to the bathroom at any point in the movie. You'll come back and see the movie again anyway. He's just been so cocky, and it's been so hard. But he definitely backed it up. So what can you do? I am excited for the future of the Avatar franchise. Now, if you haven't seen the movie yet, I am going to go into spoilers, because I feel like I can't really have an Avatar segment on this podcast or a standalone Avatar video on my YouTube channel if I don't talk about the actual details of the film. So if you haven't seen the movie, this is your spoiler warning. It is time to subscribe and like this video, and plan to come back to it later after you've seen Avatar: The Way of the Water. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about the cons of Avatar: The Way of Water. This is what I did not like about the movie. And I'm not going to say it's too long. I've only seen this movie once. Obviously, I'm planning to see it again, maybe a third time, because my rule is you see a movie 3 times, that's when you accurately know how great a movie is. Avatar being 3 hours and 12 minutes isn't really a con in my mind, because after watching it for the first time, I don't know what I would cut. I really don't. I thought about it. I was like, okay, which parts were really fillers? And there was an argument for every scene, so I don't really think anything should be cut. With that being said, the cons of this movie were actually the choices that it made at the very beginning. I said earlier in this podcast that I applaud bold choices, and I will call a movie out when it is not being bold. Avatar, to start, made some choices that were weird. I wouldn't call them bold. I would just say they're weird. The first one, the first Avatar movie had no indication of kids, no indication of romance outside of Jake Sully and Neytiri. So where the heck did Colonel Miles Outrich, however you say his last name, when the heck did he have a kid on Pandora? When did this happen? Spider, the Tarzan of Pandora, and the Tarzan of this movie, he is Miles' son. That's revealed pretty early on, and you're just kind of scratching your head like, how, with who, when, why? I mean, I get it, you're a military guy, you're on this alien planet for a while, your natural human needs don't go away. I get it, but also it's just kind of a weird choice. But I really liked Spider. I liked his character, so I was okay with it. I bought into it, but that was a weird choice. Also, bringing back the Colonel was just kind of cheap. I felt like you could have come back with a stronger villain who made his own avatar to infiltrate. I didn't feel like it needed to be the Colonel. However, saying that, the Colonel did provide a lot of really cool movies, and I felt he was better written this time than he was the first movie. There's the scene where he is seeing his dead body, and he's seeing how he truly died, because the whole premise is that he died. The backup plan was they were going to store his memories and mind in an avatar so he can come back and finish the mission. And so he does, but the only thing he wouldn't remember is how he died. So they go, they find the site, he discovers it on accident, really, it wasn't really planned, and he holds his own skull in his hands, and he crushes. That was a crazy moment. That was crazy. That was pretty cool. So I was like, all right, I could live with this. Like I said, a lot of mistakes were made early on that I just kind of bought in. The next one was Kyrie. Okay, this was weird. Sometimes the accents in this movie kind of failed them, because Sigourney Weaver's character, Grace's daughter, her avatar daughter, I thought her name was Kitty, and then sounded like her name was Kira. So I was like, what? But anyway, her daughter, played by Weaver, actually, was born, and you don't know who the father is. It's a mystery. Kind of like Star Wars, you didn't know who Rey's parents were. You didn't know who Anakin Skywalker's father was. My theory is that she is a father, or she is the how do I describe this? She is the daughter of Awa, the living spirit in Pandora, the thing that connects all life. She is the daughter of Awa. She basically is the Force baby of Avatar. She is Anakin Skywalker. She is the chosen one, I think. I really do think she's just going to be the chosen one throughout the series. So I thought she was a good character to have. It just kind of felt, I don't know, it just kind of felt a little weird, some of the choices they made with her. I mean, just her being around, again, like, if she's not the spirit, if she's not a Force baby of Pandora, then it's a really random choice to make. And also her random epilepsy. They gave her epilepsy for a single scene just so they can have an excuse to bring Norm into the island village and have the Colonel find a way to track Sully. I mean, that was the only reason they gave her epilepsy. That was a weird choice. Also, why do Jake's sons and Spider have to use the word bro every 3 words? They would be like, yeah, we gotta go do this, bro. Yeah, you have to pull this, bro. Oh, let's fight, bro, then, bro. Like, every 3 words is bro. And I was like, okay, we get it. You guys are brothers. Just shut up. Stop saying the word bro. It was really bothering me. I think that's it. I think that's all the problems I had with the movie. That is all the problems I had with Avatar: The Way of the Water. And they weren't really big problems. Like I said, I bought into it early on in the film. I mean, the bro thing was the only thing that maybe every once in a while just made me kind of cringe. But Pandora is a beautiful world. James Cameron expanded the world beautifully. The story was great. It gets that last final act is incredibly captivating. And there's a lot of moments in this film that just make you sick to your stomach in a good way. Just because you're so invested in the characters. when I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but the whales, essentially, when they were all dying, my wife and I, like, were literally about to throw up. It was so sad. We were so invested in those animals and the land, and seeing them damaged, hurt, killed was heartbreaking. And then, Jake Sully's firstborn son, like, I've only seen the movie once, so I'm not solid with names yet, but his firstborn son dying was predictable. Like, you kind of knew there was going to be a death coming, and then about 5 minutes before it happened, you're like, okay, he's about to die. Everyone knew that was coming. So I guess that's another con, was this movie can be predictable and a little bit cliche with its writing, but it definitely, you still felt it emotionally. And man, Natiri is a beast. She is a beast. And when she's fighting through her grief and taking out on all the soldiers, that was insane. And it was truly terrifying. And you truly thought she slit Spider's throat at one point. Because, Spider is the Colonel's son. She uses Spider as leverage to get her daughter back, to get Kitty back. And, like, seriously, it was just insane. I thought this was the bold choice. I thought if she truly did kill Spider in that scene, that would have been the craziest choice I've ever seen in a movie be made. And I would have thought about that for the rest of my life. That would have been the boldest, most insane thing to happen on screen. But she did. Instead, you kind of thought for a second she did, but instead she cut his chest. And they they get their daughter back. It worked. And then Spider goes on to eventually save the Colonel, which you're kind of like, dang it, Spider. But it kind of works because you also didn't want the Colonel to just drown. You want him to have a better, more satisfying death. So I was okay with it. But just a crazy, crazy final act. Avatar: The Way of Water is definitely worth watching. It's a 9 out of 10 film, in my opinion. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 just because there are some flaws. And also, I don't know if I can rewatch this movie. I'm definitely scared to rewatch it. I need to rewatch it. I want to rewatch it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this might be really hard to rewatch. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10. I want to hear your thoughts about Avatar: The Way of the Water, so please let me know in the comments below. And honestly, just please subscribe, download, follow me on all social media platforms, Big Screen Berkan or Berkan the Official if you want to follow me personally. It truly means the world to me, to all of you guys who make it to this part of the podcast, who listen to the whole thing. That means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it more than you will ever know and understand. A113, the greatest Pixar story ever written, is coming soon. Be on the lookout for it. I'll see you guys next time.